everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and we are going to be doing our next edition of the Player Spotlight segment today. We are going to be focusing on all-pro running back, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts and St. Louis Rams, now the Los Angeles Rams, Marshall Faulk. Okay, so we are going to be doing the Player Spotlight on Marshall Faulk today. And I thought that that's all this show was going to be today. Seriously, not a lot of news coming out, but we got some breaking news coming out of the NFL. It has been reported, this is per Adam Schefter, that the NFL is declining to hold a supplemental draft this summer. They are currently leaving the 2027 draft as the only way for quarterback Brendan Sorsby to enter the NFL. So as we know about the Brendan Sorsby story, the quarterback from Texas Tech, we talked about him a few times on the show here in the past couple weeks, dealing with the whole lawsuit stuff with the NCAA, with college football. And then it reported out last week that he was going to enter the NFL supplemental draft this year, and he was dropping his lawsuit against college football. Now the NFL is not doing a supplemental draft this summer. So now any player that was going to enter the supplemental draft coming out of college, basically, as well as Brendan Sorsby, has to wait until the 2027 NFL draft. So that's what we're looking at right now. So the breaking news is the NFL is not planning on holding their supplemental draft this summer, and quarterback of Texas Tech, Brendan Sorsby, will have to wait until the 2027 NFL draft out in Washington, D.C. to get drafted into the NFL. Okay, so I'm going to clip that one right away. So that is the breaking news coming out in the past maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So it's crazy. This story has been a roller coaster of a story, and I have a feeling we're not going to hear the last of this. I have a feeling. And then you'll probably have fans of Brendan saying, oh, the NFL just did this because of him. I don't think they would do that. I don't think the NFL would hold off their supplemental draft because of one player. I don't think so. I have a great feeling the NFL would not do that just because of one player. So, yeah. We're going to definitely keep an eye on this story. Definitely going to keep an eye on the story as it keeps going on, because it's going to be a story that's going to go throughout the summer probably. Would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if Brendan Sorsby goes back and continues his lawsuit against college football, because now he is missing a year of football. He's not going back to college football unless he goes and wins the lawsuit. He wouldn't be able to go back and play. So he's going to be out of football for a year. He's going to be out of football for a year. And any NFL team coming out of 2026 that's going to need a quarterback, which is very few teams. Very few teams. They're not going to draft him. They're not going to draft him. And if they do, it's going to be late. I'm talking 5th, 6th, 7th round. Depth chart. That's what it's going to be. Now I'm trying to pull up what teams could be looking for a quarterback in 2027. Because, I believe that it's not going to be many. So, the quarterbacks becoming available in 2027, Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns. If he's not the starter this season, then obviously the Browns have decided to move forward with Shedeur Sanders, possibly. So, Shedeur Sanders, young player, he's going to have a couple years till he gets his 5th-year option up on him. I think Shedeur has like 2 more seasons after this season until the 5th-year option comes up on him. So then they have that 2-year evaluation of Shedeur Sanders. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield is going to become a free agent at the end of 2026. I don't see Tampa Bay letting him walk. I see them giving him another extension, probably a 2-year, 3-year extension. Baker Mayfield is not leaving Tampa Bay. Aaron Rodgers has already made it clear that this is his last season, so Pittsburgh is going to have a possible opening spot in the starter position, right? Possibly. It all depends on what they decide to do with Drew Aller, because Drew Aller getting drafted in the 3rd round this year in the NFL draft. Could he be the next guy? Who knows? Who's going to be the next guy in Pittsburgh? I don't think Brandon Sorsby goes to the Steelers, though. Justin Fields is a backup quarterback out in Kansas City. Anthony Richardson, I feel like he's going to get traded before the season even starts this year, but he's going to be a backup guy. Marcus Mariota, backup. Davis Mills, backup. Jacoby Brissett out in Arizona. He's the starter currently. They have Carson Beck on the bench, but do they have a lot of belief that Carson Beck could be the guy of the future in Arizona? So maybe Brendan Sorsby lands there, Arizona. So let's add Arizona to the list, okay? So let's say in 2027, we're gonna run down these teams. So we'll add the Cardinals to that list, just in case, okay? Joe Flacco, backup out in Cincinnati. Jarrett Stidham, backup out in Denver. Gardner Minshew in Arizona, Mac Jones in San Francisco, Andy Dalton in Philadelphia, Jameis Winston out in New York for the Giants, Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett out in New York, out in Carolina, Geno Smith for the Jets, who's going to be the starter in New York this year. And we're going to talk about Geno Smith in a minute because he's got some news coming out. So the Cardinals, I'll say the Jets. We'll put the Jets on that list because they Geno Smith. So maybe Brendan Sorsby in New York. Who knows? So there's 2 teams right there. 2 teams right there. Carson Wentz out in Minnesota. Trey Lance out Los Angeles for the Chargers. Sam Howell in Dallas. Drew Lock in Seattle. Tyrod Taylor in Green Bay. Will Levis in Tennessee. Nick Mullins in Jacksonville. Sam Ellinger out in Denver. Teddy Bridgewater in Detroit. Josh Johnson in Cincinnati. These are all backup guys. Kyler Murray may be the starter out in Minnesota, and if he does well, Minnesota signs him. They probably trade J.J. McCarthy for next year, which means J.J. McCarthy can end up in New York for the Jets or in Arizona for the Cardinals. Could. So where realistically will Brandon Sorsby land in 2027 without playing a snap of football in 2026? The college football is not going to let him back. And if they do, does he go back to Texas Tech? Which he probably would. But then the next question is would he be the starter? Because you got to imagine Texas Tech has already started getting their quarterback in line for this season. They're not going to put all that work in with the quarterback out in Texas Tech right now, whoever the quarterback may be. I don't know who the quarterback out in Texas Tech is right now. I got to look. We're going to look real quick, see who the quarterback is at Texas Tech. Will Hammond, starting quarterback for Texas Tech in 2020, is expected to be either transfer Mitch Grivis or freshman Will Hammond. So I don't think Sorsby goes back and becomes a starter. They're going to be working with those 2 guys to be under center. And you got to think, we're about a week and a half away. I believe college football starts their training camps at the beginning of July. Late July. Okay, I was close. Late July. So if anything, Sorsby's going to have to start doing something now to see if he can get back to Texas Tech to even be considered the starter out in Texas Tech. But I don't see it happening. I will be shocked. But the Arizona Cardinals and New York Jets are the only 2 teams that are going to be available for him in 2027. And that is if Minnesota does not decide to trade J.J. McCarthy. That is if Kyler Murray doesn't walk and go elsewhere. Same with Tua Tagovailoa. Because we got to remember, Tua He's not in Miami anymore. And Malik Willis is apparently going to be the guy out in Miami. So this is a rough spot for this kid. And making the decisions that he made, just not good. Not good. So we'll have to see what happens with the Brendan Sorsby situation. Let's get back on track here, guys. Make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Podcast over on social media, over on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Pod. You can hit that follow button over on the YouTube. You're going to hit the subscribe button. And on the Twitch channel, you hit the follow button. That's how you follow us all across social media. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. You just go and click on the one you desire to go to, because I know not everybody uses every social media outlet. I know a lot of people are asking, what's Epic Studios? It's a new place. People don't use TikTok, all that stuff. But make sure you're heading over there, helping us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. Okay. In other news, we got some news. We're going to do player spotlight. This is probably going to be a short show today. Don't be surprised if this is a short show today, because we do not have a lot. But we are still going to cover everything we need to cover today. All right. It is coming out in the news that Geno Smith is being investigated for an incident in which a woman accused him of battery in Davie, Florida on Tuesday, said on Tuesday morning, this morning. Officers were summoned to Smith's home Sunday after a woman claimed to be his ex-girlfriend called 911 and said that he assaulted her. So not good, man. I mean, we sit here and preach about the younger players not doing stupid stuff. And now you have a veteran player who's been in this league for years on end getting into alleged trouble on the outside. Now, apparently there's a video floating around on social media. I seen it. I seen the video. Okay. And if you haven't and you want to go see it, by all means, you're a human being, go look for it yourself. I'm not going to play it here. I'm not going to repost it. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. You guys go look for it on your own. Okay? Because we're not going to repost or put up stuff that has to do with things like that. We're not going to be a gossip. No. It's not happening. Go look for it yourself if you are that inclined to see it and you're that intrigued to see what the outcome was. I'm not giving my opinion. That's that. I know everybody has to have an opinion on something and point fingers and do this and do that. I'm not doing that. I'm just simply telling you guys the video is out there on the internet. I have seen it. And here's the thing is, let me reiterate myself. I seen a video that is being claimed to be the exact incident. Okay? The picture was not clear enough whether it determines if that was Geno or not. So I want to redact what I just said and say that it is being titled that is Geno Smith in the video. Okay? It's up to you guys whether you want to go find it or not. And I'm not going to give my opinion, because if it's not the right video, if it's not the real video, and I give my opinion, then that's just a bad look on me. And this brand is too special to me to tarnish because of something stupid like that. So we're not going to go down that road. Go check it out for yourself. Go look it up for yourself. Go search it for yourself. You want to give an opinion, that's on you. I'm not giving an opinion. I just watched it. I realistically don't have an opinion, to be honest. I don't have an opinion. I don't. I don't have an opinion because of the fact that it wasn't fully clear whether it was Geno in the video or not. It wasn't very clear. So I don't have an opinion. But the thing is we live in that day and age where there's cameras everywhere. I mean, you could be walking down the street. There's a camera out somewhere. Guaranteed there's a camera out somewhere. Somebody is recording. So if you're not doing it for your own self-preservation, somebody else is doing it for their own self-preservation or enjoyment or safety or anything like that. You know, and in this case, I understand video was taken. It's for legal and safety issues and all that stuff. Understandable, but it's not for me to give my opinion on. It's not. Because it's not very clear whether it's him or not. But apparently he's being accused and being investigated with this incident of battery. So, and this person is claiming that it's an ex-girlfriend. So we have so much news coming out of this Brendan Sorsby situation. It's crazy how much is being posted by the second. So more news is coming out. Pete Thamel on X just posted that Brendan Sorsby's attorney Jeffrey Kessler told ESPN tells ESPN of the NFL's decision to not hold a supplemental draft. It is a violation of the CBA and the law. We will pursue this immediately with the NFLPA. So basically what I'm getting from this is they feel like the NFL is not holding the supplemental draft due to the fact of Brendan Sorsby. And they are accusing the NFL of it being a violation of the CBA and the law. And they're going to pursue it immediately. So, well, again, we're going to have to follow this story. We're going to definitely follow this story. We'll talk about it more on the Sunday edition because I'm sure more things are going to come out about this in the next 24 hours. We're going to keep notes of it. We're going to talk about it. And, we'll definitely cross that bridge. So more drama coming out of the NFL. Wide receiver of the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, took a video about a day or two ago shouting out the words, "Go Commanders," in his latest Instagram story. So it seems like Brandon Ayuk, let me start this one over. Current wide receiver of the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, posted on his Instagram story the words, "Go Commanders." So as we know, Brandon Ayuk, it's clear he's gone in San Francisco, correct? Yes. It seems like he's starting to target other teams, trying to get himself in the ear of general managers of NFL teams. And it seems like the first team he is gunning for, damn it, I can't say gunning. Can't do that. Okay. Current wide receiver of the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, posted on his Instagram story the words shouting, "Go Commanders." So as we know, Brandon Ayuk is gone in San Francisco. It's going to happen. They have not officially released or traded him yet, but it seems like Brandon Ayuk is targeting other teams to go to. He has interest in other teams, showing that interest in going to other teams, such as the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders is the first team that he has mentioned publicly. So it seems like Brandon Ayuk has a lot of interest in going to Washington. So we're going to have to see if Brandon Ayuk ends up playing for the Washington Commanders in 2026 or if he ends up sitting out another season. But it seems like he is focused on getting on a roster before 2026 kicks off. And he stated in a past post that he will play football this season. So we'll have to see what happens with Brandon Ayuk. Okay. So that's all we got in the news today. I'm not seeing anything else. Obviously, we're talking about the Brendan Sorsby stuff. Not really seeing anything else. I'm seeing some interesting things that we could do as far as segments for future shows coming up in the next couple weeks. So yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye out on things here. But that's that for the news. That's all we got. We're going to do the player spotlight segment here in the next 30 to 45 seconds. We're just going to take a quick commercial break here on the Huddle Up Podcast. All right, guys, make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Up Podcast over on social media after we get off air here today over on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Up Pod. You're going to hit that follow button, or on the YouTube, you're going to hit that subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube. And over on Twitch at the Huddle Up Podcast, you're going to hit that follow button there as well. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. You just click on the one you desire to go to, because I know not everybody uses every social media outlet, and help us build the Huddle Up Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. Okay. So, guys, the first edition of the Player Spotlight segment was done on current quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers. And it was a test segment, okay? I'm going to do Aaron Rodgers again. That way we can get it on recording, because stupid me deleted the recording of that Player Spotlight. So I'm going to end up doing that Player Spotlight again. I'm probably not going to do it on air here. I'm probably just going to do it on a recording, so that way I can get it up under the Player Spotlight segment section of the YouTube channel. But the Larry Fitzgerald one is live right now. Okay, went live at noontime today, which I'm very excited about. So I hope you guys go over to the YouTube channel and check out the Player Spotlight segment on Larry Fitzgerald that we did here. I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. I know the editing's not the greatest. I know that, you know, it's obviously not the best or anything like that, but it's something, and it's better than nothing. And you know, I'm having fun doing this. I'm having fun doing the Player Spotlight segment. And with that being live right now, it's been live for about 3 hours. I don't know how many views it got. Kind of curious on how many views it got. But anyways, I'm just happy to do the Larry Fitzgerald thing. No views right now. It's okay. It'll get views. It'll get views eventually. But I'm excited to be doing the player spotlight segment here and spotlighting players from the past and present here. I'm also looking for a new computer desk because my desk is crap. I don't like this desk. I need to get rid of it. And I messaged somebody about a desk yesterday, and they've yet to get back to me, which I'm kind of like, what the heck? This kind of stinks. And it's literally 2 minutes from my house, and it's super, super cheap. And I love the desk, and I would love to get it. But, yeah, I'll have to see. Hopefully I can get the new desk. So yeah. I got a lot of things I need to get. I need to get a connector for this monitor as well, so I can get double connection here, so I can have other windows open up here, because I don't mind writing things down and notes and all this stuff to present for you guys. But if I had another screen physically going, it would be so much easier for notes and stuff to do and everything. So I've used this other monitor for gaming, but I've yet to use it for the full purpose that I wanted to use it for. And I've been pretty lazy on getting the connector for that. So I gotta get it though. I do. All right, guys. Player spotlight segment coming up, and we are going to talk about Marshall Faulk. Okay, so we are going to do the beginning here. All right. On this edition of the Player Spotlight segment today, we are highlighting former All-Pro running back of the Indianapolis Colts and St. Louis, now Los Angeles Rams, Marshall Faulk. I am super excited to do this Player Spotlight segment today because Marshall Faulk was one of my favorite running backs back in the early days of me watching football and getting into football. So I am super, super excited to do this Player Spotlight segment. So starting off, Marshall Faulk was a running back out of San Diego State University. He was drafted in the first round, second overall to the Indianapolis Colts back in 1994. I'm going to start that over again because I didn't have all my notes in front of me. Oh my gosh. So we are going to we're going to start that over. Okay, so player spotlight. We're going to start that at 32 minutes. Oh, wait, I have my notes in front of me. I've been having a lot of fun. I've been doing prediction things the past couple days and been doing them in like different fashions. They've been so cool. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. So let's get into it. So 3, 2, 1. So here we go. On today's edition of the Player Spotlight segment, we are spotlighting former All-Pro running back of the Indianapolis Colts and St. Louis, now Los Angeles Rams, Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk, coming out of the University of San Diego State, drafted in 1994 in the first round, second overall to the Indianapolis Colts. Let's get into it. First off, his college awards and accomplishments. In 1991, he was the rushing touchdown leader, first team All-American, the scoring leader, the WAC Freshman of the Year, first team All-WAC. In 1992, he was unanimous All-American. He won the Jim Brown Trophy. He was the rushing yards leader, the WAC Offensive Player of the Year, and first team All-WAC. And in 1993, he was another unanimous All-American, the scoring leader, first team All-WAC. Those were his awards and accomplishments in college football. He also had his jersey number retired at San Diego State University, so no one can wear the number 28. Number 28 has been retired. So congratulations to Marshall Faulk for getting the number 28 retired at San Diego State University. That is a huge accomplishment in college football. Huge accomplishment. Some people may not think so, but it actually is. Very big accomplishment because you played that well to where they don't feel like anybody else should be wearing that jersey number. So congratulations to Marshall Faulk. Let's get into his NFL awards and accomplishments. First off, in Super Bowl 34, we've seen that historic Super Bowl win for the St. Louis Rams over the Tennessee Titans. It is considered the win by a yard game. Why? Because on the final play, Steve McNair threw a pass down the middle of the field to Kevin Dyson, and he caught the ball at the 1 yard line and was stopped. Thus, the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl 34 that year. And that was such a historic game. If you have never seen that game, it is available on YouTube. Go watch it. Great game. One of my favorite Super Bowls of all time. Next to the 2 Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl wins. One of my favorite Super Bowls of all time. Let's get into more of his awards and accomplishments. In the year 2000, he was league MVP. In 1999 through 2001, he was Offensive Player of the Year. And in 1994, Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was a first-team All-Pro in 1999 through the year of 2001. Second-team All-Pro in 1994, 1995, and 1998. Okay, he made the Pro Bowl in 1994, 1995, and from 1998 to the year 2002, he was in the Pro Bowl. He was the rushing touchdown leader in the year 2000. He was a scoring leader in 2000 and 2001. He won the Burt Bell Award in 2001. He was also voted to the All-Rookie team for the PFWA back in 1994. He was SN Athlete of the Year in the year 2000. He also made the St. Louis Football Ring of Fame and the Colts Ring of Honor. And then again, his jersey was retired in the Rams organization at the number 28. So nobody for the Rams can wear the number 28. So not just one, but 2 times he has had his jersey number retired, both on the collegiate and the NFL level. Okay. So great accomplishments for Marshall Faulk. Let's get into his rankings, okay? So as you know, if you've seen the Player Spotlight segment before, we rank from worst to best their seasons throughout their careers, okay? So first off, in his career, he has played 176 games. He has carried the ball 2,836 times for 12,279 yards and 100 touchdowns. Okay. In the playoffs, he played 12 games, carried the ball 165 times, 602 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So not a bad playoff career either for Marshall Faulk. As far as receiving, he caught the ball 767 times for 6,875 yards and 36 touchdowns. In the playoffs, 53 catches, 552 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Marshall Faulk putting up the numbers. Okay, so now let's rank from worst to best when it comes to his seasons. 12 seasons in the NFL. 12 seasons for Marshall Faulk. And at number 12, his worst season was in 2005 with the Rams, 65 carries, 292 yards, and no touchdowns. At number 11 was his 1996 year with the Indianapolis Colts, 198 carries, 587 yards, and 7 touchdowns. At number 10, his 2004 year with the Rams, 195 carries, 774 yards, and 3 touchdowns. At number 9, his 2003 year with the Rams, 209 carries, 818 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So even with 10 touchdowns, he had under 1,000 yards. It's crazy. 10 touchdowns on under 1,000 yards. So at number 8, 2002 Rams, 212 carries, 953 yards, and 8 touchdowns. At number 7, his year with the Colts in 1997, 264 carries, 1,054 yards, and 7 touchdowns. At number 6, 1995 year with the Colts, 289 carries, 1,078 yards, and 11 touchdowns. At number 5, his 1994 year with the Colts, 314 carries, 1,282 yards, and 11 touchdowns. So 2 straight years with 11 touchdowns, which is crazy. That's good for a running back. Not bad at all for a running back, especially at that time when defense was at a huge high for a lot of teams. And still good years, even though they was ranked 6 and 5. At number 4, in 1998, the Indianapolis Colts, 324 carries, 1,319 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Now, you're going to probably think at number 3 should be his best year, but it was not. Was not his best year. In the year 2000 with the Rams, 253 carries, 1,359 yards, and 18 touchdowns. Okay, not his best year. Best year as far as touchdowns. But as far as yardage, no. Okay, at number 2, his 1999 year with the Rams. This was their Super Bowl winning year. Okay, 253 carries, 1,381 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Okay, and finally, his best year was the 2001 year with the Rams. 260 carries, 1,382 yards, and 12 touchdowns. That was his best season of his career, was in 2001 with the St. Louis Rams. Okay? That is our player spotlight on former All-Pro running back of the Indianapolis Colts and St. Louis/Los Angeles Rams, Marshall Faulk. Really hope you like this edition of the player spotlight segment, and we'll see you on the next one. All right. That's that guy's player spotlight on Marshall Faulk. I was really excited to do this one. Really, really excited. And I'm excited to do the next one. I'm not going to tell you who the next one is. Not going to tell you who the next one is. But I'm going to say this right now. We are most likely going defense. Okay? We already went quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Might be best to switch over to the defensive side of the ball. We'll see, though. Okay. But that's all I got for you guys today. That's it. I wanted to talk about this real quick. I've been doing, every night, I've been doing these prediction things. Now, Cam, who is my co-host on the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast during the season, he showed me this website. Super cool, makes things super easy to do predictions, right? And I think I talked about this on the Sunday edition as well. So I've done a couple more of these predictions on Sunday. I did a prediction, okay, because Sunday was the 21st. I did a thing where I would every team won every home game, and then I would flip for the away games. Okay, so basically how this went was I have a wheel simulator thing on my computer, and if it lands on a team, that's who I go to. I give them all home wins, okay? But then I go flip for all the away games, a coin, and I have an app on my phone that flips a coin, okay? And for that one, the teams that made the Super Bowl were the Rams and the Texans. But you wouldn't believe some of the teams that made it to the playoffs by doing that, okay? In the NFC, the Vikings, Saints, Rams, Giants, Commanders, Cardinals, Bears. In the AFC, Bills, Ravens, Raiders, Texans, Bengals, Steelers, Chiefs. Yeah. Okay, and then I did one right after that where I gave everybody an automatic away win that I landed on and then flipped for home games, okay? The playoffs were in the NFC, the Falcons, Seahawks, Giants, Vikings, Cowboys, Cardinals, Saints. In the AFC, Raiders, Bills, Steelers, Texans, Ravens, Browns, Patriots. And the Super Bowl ended up being the Saints and the Ravens. Okay? It's been so much fun doing this. On Monday night, I did Monday night. Or Sunday night going into Monday, I did this. Because I did these the morning going into Sunday. Okay. On this one, I did it the morning going into Monday. So I did a thing where I flipped for division games, but then I looked up every team's history and seen like their matchups of this year, the outcome of the last time they played a team. So, for example, flipped for every division game, but then like for the Eagles, for example, I looked up to see the last time they played the Rams. They played them last year. They beat them. So I gave the Rams the win on this one. That's what I did, okay? The teams that made the playoffs. NFC, Panthers, Packers, Rams, Cowboys, Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, AFC, Browns, Jaguars, Chargers, Jets, Titans, Colts, Broncos. And in the Super Bowl were the Panthers and Chargers. Okay, and then last night, I flipped for every game. And it's crazy how quick this took me. Like, that's the good thing about having a digital coin flipper. You just hit the thing, flip, bing, lands on a thing, right? Super easy. Playoffs, NFC, Packers, Falcons, Eagles, Rams, Vikings, Saints, Bears, AFC, Jaguars, Jets, Chargers, Ravens, Raiders, Patriots, Texans. Super Bowl, Bears and Ravens. Now, if you're wondering how I determine the Super Bowl, how I do it is I spin the wheel. Like I put the teams on the wheel simulator I have, and I just spin it. If it lands on the team, they win. That's how I do it. That's how I determine who wins in what playoff games. That's it. I don't pick. Because if you looked at some of these matchups and I picked, I'd be like, all right, this is a more favorable matchup. This team should win. But I leave it up to the wheel. So it's a fun little way to do it. But we will be doing our preseason predictions very, very soon. Because I want to do them a little sooner so I can get the segment posted up on the YouTube channel for you guys to check out throughout the summertime. So I think we're going to do it probably in the next 2 weeks, at least. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, like beginning of July, probably. So, but that's going to do it for me today here on the episode of Huddle Hub Podcast. If you want to follow me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me all across social media. If you want to follow us on as far as the Huddle Hub Podcast on social media, it's going to be on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. You hit that follow button on YouTube, you hit the subscribe, and you obviously hit the follow button on the Twitch channel. All of the links for all of our social media is in the Twitch bio. I know not everybody uses every social media, and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. Okay, guys, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great rest of your week. I'll see you on the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, guys, have a great week. Deuces.